He expressed warnings to others of a force so menacing and unbeatable, it could only be described as supernatural. He called them ghosts.
Hello there, Sir from 17 once again. This is my Call of Duty Ghosts Veteran Difficulty video walkthrough. This is mission 16, it's called Severed Ties, and this is one of my favourite missions on the game. And you might be thinking, Chris, why the hell would you say that? You're driving a tank, nobody likes tank missions. Well, on this game I do. And I've got to preface this with a few things. I acknowledge that on Veteran the tank mission is kind of bullshit. There are moments where you die and you don't know why. You just do. Old school Call of Duty style. And that's kind of great. It's kind of shitty and kind of great at the same time. It's like a nostalgia punch to the cock. And I don't mind it for a change, even though I'm not really into sadomasochism or any kind of genitalia torture. But all you have to do on this sequence is cruise around in your tank and shoot what the game wants you to shoot. Rival tanks, missile structures, all that kind of stuff. But the cool thing is this tank is not a motorized wheelchair with a cannon on it like they've been in the past. This thing picks up some serious speed. This is high speed, high octane, drive-by gangster style tank battles, and I think it's great. I would even go as far as to say I would like there to be a tank playlist in the multiplayer where everybody gets to drive around at 9 million miles an hour firing tank rounds, because it's just stupid. It's stupid, and I found it a lot of fun. That being said, I died a handful of times from shit I didn't know what was going on, which was annoying, and the checkpoints are not the most graceful, so you might have difficulty here. And what I did, or what I tried at first when I started dying on this particular area in front of us, in this next airfield, you have to destroy a shit ton of missile defences, and there's about 4 or 5 of them. And I don't think you get a checkpoint until you kill a ton, so it takes a while, but you can see them on the map, they're everywhere. And I was dying. I was killing 1 or 2, and then I was dying, and I didn't know why. The reason I was dying is because there's 3 helicopters, there's 3 Harriers, and what I was trying to do is I was trying to fire smoke and use the smoke to get away from things and survive, and it didn't work, guys. It just didn't work at all. And I missed an achievement here for not using the guided missile to kill all the helicopters. There's 3 helicopters, and if you use the guided homing missile thing, you will get a trophy. But as I was saying, I was literally popping smoke everywhere and just dipping in and out the smoke to stop myself from dying, and it just completely didn't work. It didn't work at all. So instead, just use your homing rocket thing that you can guide, like the Slayer missile launcher from Perfect Dark. Kill all 3 of the crazy Russian fighter choppers, and then you can just freely dive around this entire arena shooting stuff at high speed. And this is my cup of tea all over, guys. I love stuff that tests my reflexes. I love things that are fast. It's like crack to me. Only, you know, it doesn't ruin families or destroy my teeth. But not much to do, really. Just shooting, high speed, driving around, all that good stuff. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the multiplayer, because I mentioned how I don't like the kill streaks in the previous video. I also mentioned some of the problems that it had. The multiplayer has a lot of problems that are unique to this game. Like, everybody will complain about lag. We're bad craftsmen when lag's concerned. Everything is blamed on lag, even when it's not lag's fault. When it's not lag, it's lag compensation, so it's indirectly lag. You know, there's a lot of different excuses that are given. This game's unique, though. The complaints that are happening in this one are complaints that I haven't seen too much from Call of Duty. Sometimes you see them, but much rarer. For instance, maps. I don't remember people really bitching too much about maps on any of the Call of Duties except for Modern Warfare 3. Like, Black Ops 2, the maps weren't as good as Black Ops 1 because Black Ops 1 had fantastic maps. So they got criticised, but I don't think people hung on it or lingered on it as much as they did Modern Warfare 3. The maps on Modern Warfare 3 were baffling. There's about 4 of them that were good, the rest were just horrible, clutter-filled, just play areas of bullshit. And I think we can all agree Call of Duty 4 had the best maps, by far. Call of Duty 2 had fantastic maps too. Call of Duty 3 we don't talk about. World at War had good maps. You know, Modern Warfare 2, I thought that game had shit maps. There were a couple on there that I thought was really good, but for the most they were horrible. Not a fan of those maps at all. Black Ops had fantastic maps. Black Ops 2 were decent. Modern Warfare 3s were horrible. The maps on this game are dreadful. They really are. I like about 4 of them, and there's 15. And even the ones I like have problems, and they have problems for a very specific reason. On next-gen consoles, this game has a higher player count. I'm not too sure if I've addressed this yet, but I'm addressing it again anyway. Higher player count obviously means more bodies on the maps, which should alleviate the problems that everyone's having. The maps are too big. Call of Duty has always been a small to medium-ranged game. Every so often there was one or two maps that were longer that, you know, snipers flocked to, that you know, certain game modes played really well on, but for all intents and purposes, Call of Duty has always been about small maps. The close-quartered battle, the constant kill feeds, the constant running into enemies, the traffic patterns, the insanity, the thing that we like, the twitch. And on these big maps, it doesn't have that, and along with these huge maps that could literally be cut in half and make two maps that would probably be of medium size in a previous game, you have the fact that the flow paths on the maps are different too. So before, the maps would be incredibly symmetrical. They would symmetrical, and they would have usually three avenues to approach the other side of the map. Each of these would be choke points, each of these would be well-trafficked areas where combat occurred. You know, you'd have your flank routes, you'd have your direct routes, you would have conflict happening in these three heat zones. This game doesn't have those paths, those avenues, those lines of sight. It's essentially like somebody rolled a bunch of dice and those dice became geometry. There are big circles filled with clutter, filled with balconies, filled with windows. Pretty much everything you've ever blamed for a bad death on a Call of Duty, these maps are just celebrating the existence of those things. And for some folks, this is going to probably be great. Like if you're a rusher and you've got Amplify, you're going to have a lot of fun, because you can hear people really well with that perk. Biggest problem is, you've got to get to level 42 to unlock it, so leveling up on this game is really slow, it takes ages to level up, so getting that perk takes an eternity. But when you have it, Jesus Christ, are you in for an advantage. So you... That right there is me explaining to my girlfriend that I'm frustrated by view kick, that my aim's going everywhere. I keep doing it. Every time I reload, you'll notice I'm wobbling my analog to simulate what's happening when these wankers shoot me. Not a fan of it at all, but I understand why it's there, so I can't be too judgmental. But the maps are just baffling. They play so strange. And you'd think bigger maps, kill streaks would reign supreme, but the kill streaks on this game, as I've mentioned, are horrible. They just don't do what they used to do. There's no real supremacy, there's no real, you know, big kill streaks, and I think it's funny that Call of Duty seems to have not been able to replicate the fun of Modern Warfare 2's kill streaks. And I think it's because of all the things they've added. The spawn protection, you know, the buildings. So many buildings now. I mean, some maps on Modern Warfare 2 you couldn't really use any kill streaks on, because it was too corridor based. But on anything that didn't have those roofs or had an area of the map that was open, you could use any of them, and they did a lot of stuff. And a lot of people hated the kill streaks. You know, they thought the game became all about the kill streaks, and it kind of did in some regards. But a lot of these people are the same kind of selfish idiots that never used to use launchers. And that's one of the things I've never understood about the folks that complain about air support. The people who complain mostly about air support are the people not shooting it down. Because if you do shoot it down, you realise the air support is balanced. If it's up in the sky, it's causing hassle. You want to get it down. You don't want to continue being selfish and run around and build your kill streak. It's supposed to make you change your playstyle to adapt to the battlefield to get rid of it. And nobody did that except for, you know, me and my friends, and probably you and your friends, because you realise there was a lot of points in taking down air support, and not only that, but it was fun. But there's all those people that just don't do it. How many times have you been the only guy on the team with the fucking Strela, the only guy with the Stinger? It shouldn't happen because of how prevalent air support is. And I can't speak to this game because I've not really played too much online. I've played the squad modes, which is a simulation of the online, but it's not got the players who are doing all the cheesy techniques and all the crazy stuff. Like, the bots do get kill streaks and they do summon things, but the only thing that I've really experienced so far from the bots is the dog, the guard dog, which is really annoying because it's very difficult to see and it kills you instantly. But there's just so many things that I don't understand about this most recent version of Call of Duty, and there's a lot of people posting videos and they're all saying the same thing of everybody seems to be hating on it. Like, it's really popular right now to say you don't like the multiplayer because it's different, and I'm usually the first kind of contrarian attitude to say just because it's different doesn't mean it's bad, but the differences on this game really have an effect that change the way it feels. I literally said to myself when I was playing, this doesn't feel like Call of Duty. You know, when I was running around this giant map unable to find people, 6v6 and I couldn't see anyone, it felt like a different game. And I play Call of Duty to get that experience, to get the Call of Duty experience, so for them not to have it is very strange. And I'm really curious to see how they react to the criticism, because part of me wants them to just embrace what they've done and just commit to it, because that's what they should do. It shows both, you know, creative and artistic integrity. They have the best vision of the game. It's their child, so they know best. But at the same time, I would really love for whatever the DLC map packs that will inevitably be coming quite shortly, if they were just tiny, tiny maps. Tiny maps, or maps from previous games that were significantly better than the ones we have. Because I can't even get over just how big these maps are. And I like big maps, that's the thing. A lot of people hate big maps on Call of Duty, but I've never been that person. I loved Array. I thought it was a great map on Black Ops. I thought it was really good on Demolition because it had a lot of strategy to it. You know, I didn't like Derail on Modern Warfare 2. I think that's one of the worst maps ever made. And I didn't like Wasteland. Wasteland might as well have been whoever camps the hardest with the air support gets the biggest penis at the end, because that's all it was. But big maps, you know, done well, really work. Like Countdown on Call of Duty 4 or Overgrown. Those are huge maps, but they work because there's so many different tides of battle that happen. This sequence here, if you're wondering, guys, all you have to do is take out the air support. I don't think there's any choppers causing you too much grief, so this bit is really simple compared to the last sequence. Just be aware that there are 2 gun turrets on each tower, and sometimes you will only kill one of them and thus need to shoot the second one. And this is going to end abruptly too, as if you've died, but it's got nothing to do with you. It's a pre-scripted event, and it's just something you have to anticipate. Because at the time I was like, I'm not dying, what the fuck's hitting me? This is bullshit, I'm not gonna die! And then I did, and it turns out you were meant to. Here it is right now. I was like, what? Why? Why? What's wrong with my screen? But it's all scripted, guys. It's Call of Duty 101. And I do apologise if I'm saying guys more than I normally do, but I've been actually watching Call of Duty commentaries, and every single American uploader says guys profusely in multiplayer commentaries, and it bugs me. There are so many other ways to address a collective of people. I like people. That's a good one. It says everything it says on the tin. Alright, people. An El Presidor type greeting, that one. I like folks. Folks has got a kind of jovialness to it. There's a dancing edge there. There's a whimsical nature to it. I'm saying folks, I don't mean folk singer, I mean you. You know, there's a lot of stuff you can use instead of that one term. And what makes it worse, aside from the egregious overuse of it, is the fact that it's always in that kind of really fake, gay radio voice. You know, talking faster than they should be talking because the video is intentionally short so that they can put out 20 in a day and capitalise on that YouTube money. And because one person's doing it, all the other people are watching theirs, and they're being, you know, subconsciously conditioned to speak like them in their own videos, so everybody goes, what's going on, guys? And guys, and then guys, and we're like, this is Call of Duty, guys. That's all it is, that fucking fake, awful cadence to the voice, guys every 2 minutes. And I blame XJaws, because he was the first person I heard speak like that, but it was cool when it was XJaws because it was his fucking voice. And then everybody else just adopted it. You get people using the exact same intros as popular YouTubers. What is that about? Some people are just clones, man. It's crazy. But thank you for watching. We're coming up to the end of this guide. It's been an interesting one. I hope you've enjoyed it. And as always, you take care now.